the comparison is crazy, but just think about that efficiency that goes into that turbo machinery. Then you also see here, obviously, the comparison between our BE4 engine. So there are 7 of those on the base of the vehicle, and our BE3U, BE3 upper stage engines, or 2 of those on the second stage. I want to talk a little bit more here. You see the comparison of the BE4 to the BE3U. You also have a comparison of the power of it as well. You know, both of these engines are highly sophisticated and have unique functionality built for New Glenn itself. So for BE4, as we noted, we've got 7 of these engines in total at the booster. We saw a cool image of that a second ago. The 3 middle engines are gimbaling engines that can pivot to help steer the rocket. So that will be working, of course, in conjunction with the fins at the top of the booster. Now, those 3 middle engines are going to relight to help with deceleration and landing burns. And the other 4 engines are fixed. And this is the combination that gives us both the power that we need, but also the flexibility we need for different stages of flight.
And you know, the BE4 engines are produced at our manufacturing facility in Huntsville, Alabama, and they're tested rigorously at our facilities, both in West Texas and Huntsville, to ensure they meet the high standards.
Yeah, and we should note there are 7 of these on New Glenn, but our friends at ULA with their Vulcan rocket, they use 2 of these engines. And those have already flown successfully to space. So we are very proud of that these engines have already flown to space, and can't wait to see them power this New Glenn rocket as well. They are going to be rattling this building very, very shortly. Well, with that, at T-minus 35 minutes to go until launch, let's toss it back to the rocket and check out New Glenn as this vehicle gets ready for its launch to space this evening. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. We are at T-minus 25 minutes and 40 seconds to go until launch. You may have seen we've been adding some time to the clock. This is to allow our teams to go through their checklists. Keep in mind there are multiple sub-teams that are up there in launch and mission control. We want to make sure that everything is ready to go, and if some of those items on the checklist take a little bit of extra time, we're going to do so, especially since it is NG1. We want to make sure that everybody is prepared and everything is aligned. We should also mention, again, we have to keep our eyes on the weather, both here and downrange. So with that, let's continue to check out New Glenn on the pad as this rocket and our teams get ready for NG1. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. We're at T-minus 23 minutes and 45 seconds to go till launch. With all this action going on upstairs at Launch and Mission Control, why don't we check in with our friend Maggie. Maggie, you got me?
Loud and clear, Ariane.
Right on. What's going on up there? What are you hearing about the status of our teams?
Yep, things are busy. The team is continuing to work through a few anomalies before we can proceed into terminal count. So we've got the engineers looking at all that data. We've got the controllers working through workarounds. So something that I think people don't always think about is that we have an enormous amount of what we're doing here in pre-launch procedures that's, scripted. We can plan it. But when off-nominal things are happening, we've got a team of controllers who can manually operate these systems. So the team that we talked about in our last bit, they are actually going through and able to turn things on and off, put different pressure through different valves. They are working through everything they can to make sure that we have a chance to launch today.
Fantastic. Yes, it's, we run through, when you talk about all the preparation for a launch, of course, we talk about, testing the rocket itself, but we also go through a lot of these simulations in terms of the operations with our team, and you test as much as you can, you go through as many rehearsals as possible, but sometimes day of, you gotta put that's why we got the really smart people in there so that they can work through whatever it is they're finding that might be a little bit off, and that's what our team is doing up there. Maggie, what
Ariane,
else? Sorry, go ahead.
No, the team here has gotten some good practice. I think we all saw the hot fire that we recently successfully made it through. So that is, almost everything up until launch. Before that, we had a successful second stage hot fire. Those are those BE3U engines. And before that, we were doing tanking tests, mass simulators. We've done component testing, system testing. And a lot of the engineers that are working in this room are actually responsible engineers on the floor. So they've gotten their hands on this hardware. They know their systems.
Excellent. Very good point. I think that I've always appreciated what we do here at Blue Earth. We tend to rotate our engineers. A lot of them, as you said, get to go down to the floor, see their hardware maybe that they've designed, talk to the men and women that are fabricating, but then also assembling the vehicle. They are very, very in tune, in touch with this vehicle. So if there are things for them to work, especially in these last minutes, we've got the right team to do it. Maggie, I want to thank you again for bringing us all the details. We've got a couple of minutes to go here. We got 20 minutes and 47 seconds to go until launch. Why don't we take a look at New Glenn as this rocket gets ready to go to space. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. We are T-minus 19 minutes to go until launch here, and while our teams are continuing to get aligned, why don't we take a moment to chat a little bit about this amazing building we are in, the factory at Rocket Park here in Florida. This is where it all comes together, where we bend the metal on New Glenn. I literally see people down there bending metal, pulling, putting the components together, testing, cleaning. But also, not only do we talk about, just all the intricate pieces and parts here, but to build a rocket like this, the sheer scale of the facility here, this factory, but also the other buildings around here are just mind-blowing.
It really is quite impressive. So Rocket Park is essentially where we bring our rocket dreams to life. We're talking about state-of-the-art manufacturing and assembly areas designed to produce rockets efficiently and, of course, sustainably. This is where the stages of New Glenn come together.
Yeah, exactly. And the folks here at Rocket Park are not just building rockets, they're really shaping the future of space travel. I should say, I've had the good fortune of being here for 10 years now, and I have seen this facility, the whole park, in addition to Launch Complex 36, come together, and it is just amazing. Like, really, from the bottom up, and the ability to build the next generation rocket in the next generation rocket factory. Like, our team is given what they need to make just an incredible vehicle. Why don't we take a deeper look at the home of New Glenn, Rocket Park.
Welcome to Blue Origin's Rocket Park in Florida, the home of New Glenn. This is where our orbital rocket is designed, built, integrated, launched, refurbished, and reflown, all within a 9-mile radius along Florida's Space Coast. Rocket Park is an active operations site for many Blue Origin activities, including manufacturing, integration and testing for New Glenn, and production of our Blue Moon lunar landers and future programs. Florida's Space Coast is 72 miles long and steeped in more than 6 decades of human spaceflight history. We stand on the shoulders of giants. New Glenn will help us build a road to space for the benefit of Earth. It's the foundation of everything we will accomplish. It will deliver cargo and crew to anywhere, including the moon, and help us establish a permanent lunar presence. It will enable us to harness the resources of space and launch all kinds of infrastructure to make space accessible, usable, and affordable for humans. The factory on Merrow Island is the centerpiece of Rocket Park. It's here where New Glenn is built and tested. The high bay is where New Glenn becomes real. Raw material enters at one end, and completed rocket stages roll out the other side. From there, New Glenn heads to the surface coatings facility for its thermal protection, paint, and artwork. It then heads to tank cleaning and test, or TCAT, for pressure testing and cleaning. The factory is also home to New Glenn's Mission Control. On launch days, Mission Control comes alive as the rocket rolls out from its hangar down the road and goes vertical at Launch Complex 36. This historic launch site was rebuilt from the ground up just for New Glenn. Protected by 2 lightning towers, almost double the height of the Statue of Liberty, New Glenn prepares for liftoff at mile marker 0. This is where the road to space begins.
What a beautiful area Rocket Park is in. There's just so much history here on the Space Coast, and we are eager to write our own chapter with New Glenn.
Absolutely. There really is just so much history, and there's something to be said about the testing and integration and design teams all working so closely together. I know that working on the programs myself, being able to talk to the designers and the people who are making the hardware is just so valuable to increase communication and efficiency, and our campus really allows for that.
100%. The physical proximity is really, really important. And it's not known, actually, but historically rockets have launched out of the Cape, but they haven't been built here. And so to be able to build our rocket here, do the integration here of the rocket, but then also obviously the payload with the rocket. And then when we get GS1, we get the booster back, we'll be doing all of the refurbishment here. That is so important, that co-location, to have that all come together. And, you know, I love that video because you see all the action. As I mentioned, you know, it's so funny. I was looking through photos earlier today, and I've got photos in the flame trench when they were just putting it up. You know, they were pouring concrete. You know, I remember being in this facility when there weren't doors on. It was just, you know, dirt on the ground. I remember we had no joke, we had a poll when they were clearing the land for this rocket park as to how many turtles we would find, because we have to relocate all of the turtles because there's incredible wildlife in this area. So of course we wanted to make sure that we protect those animals and the wildlife. And so we had a poll as to how many turtles we were going to find. God, I wish I could remember.
I was going to say, do you
remember? I know. I didn't win it, clearly. But, you know, there's just so much work that went into building this facility from the ground up. And to be here today is just, it feels surreal in many ways. And, you know, that I was just talking a little bit about the factory itself, but the launch complex, you know, LC-36, as you touched on earlier this evening, has been around for a long time, has been where many historic rockets and missions have launched from, and we basically stripped it down to the ground and rebuilt it for this world-class rocket for decades to come. You know, we invested in this facility knowing that we're going to be here a while. With that said, we also here at Blue Origin like to pay homage to the giants who have the shoulders upon which we stand, right? The vehicle, of course, is named New Glenn. But also, what's really cool is, and you can't quite see it here in the dark, but we kept what's called the blockhouse. So a lot of the previous during a lot of the previous launches, there would actually be a crew in the blockhouse, which is not very far from that launch pad when they launched a rocket. This thing is like This
a
thing is
concrete,
like a concrete, basically. It's not very big, and it's got on the inside. It's got on the inside massive, heavy doors that close the teams. To be very clear, we're not using that blockhouse tonight. We don't use it in our operations, but it is something that we have kept on site because of the history that is in that facility. I hope that one day I'll be able to go back in there. I did get a chance to peek my head in a couple of years ago. It feels almost like what's the right way of putting it? It feels like a step into the past. Like a step into the past. You know, the old computers and the ashtrays that are literally cigarettes that are literally cigarettes back in the day. Back in the day in our launch control rooms. But again, clearly a throwback to the past. But just this facility, it feels really good to be here. It feels like we're set up for success as much as possible, which is really great. Okay, we are at T-minus now 36 minutes and 40 seconds to go until launch. Again, our team has added more time to the clock. They are working through their checklist. There's clearly some things that they want to spend a little bit more time on, and that is okay. I will reiterate. We have spent years designing this rocket. We have spent months and months designing this mission, building this particular vehicle as well. The design and test that's gone into the engines that are powering this rocket. If we need a couple more minutes, especially on this first launch, that is okay with us. You know, we want to give our team the right time and the space that they need to work on whatever they got going on up there. I also want to keep in mind. My understanding is that the weather continues to stay inbounds here at the Cape, as well as out at sea. But for the moment, we have decided to put more time on the clock, which means that we still have a chance, still have the opportunity to launch this evening. I should say.
I was waiting for it.
I know, it's pretty apropos because this vehicle.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
That is the name of this booster. So yes, everything is. It's like it was meant to be for this vehicle. It's like it was meant to be. Okay. With that, we are at T-minus 35 minutes to go until launch. Let's continue to check out New Glenn on the pad. It continues to prepare for its launch to space this evening. Welcome back, everybody. We're at T-minus 31 minutes and 30 seconds to go until launch. As you may have noted, we continue to add time back to the clock. That, of course, is to make sure that our teams are aligned. I do understand that we're working an issue that is okay. If we're adding time to the clock, it means that the team thinks that there might be a possibility that we can sort it out, so we can get to a launch this evening. So we're going to give them the time that they need. Beautiful launch of the, beautiful view of the, vehicle on the pad there. On the outside there looks ready to go, but of course there's so much that goes into a complex vehicle like this. But since we do have some time, why don't we take a closer look at our vision and mission at Blue Origin? As we've said time and time again, we're building a road to space for the benefit of Earth. This vision isn't only about exploring space, it's about making life better here. Let's check it out a bit more about our vision, a bit more about
New Shepherd. New Shepherd. Just the beginning. Is just the beginning.
The first step. The first step.
From the very start, it's only been about one thing. Earth.
Our Blue Origin.
We send robotic probes all over the solar system, and it's full of wonders, and it's gas giants, rocky moons.
Earth is the best planet. It is not close. It is not close.
Despite the variety, despite the wonder in the solar system,
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
And there is no other place like it.
All life on Earth are uniquely matched to this planet. There's nothing like it anywhere else in the solar system. Not even close, no way. Not even close,
we have
no way.
No choice but to preserve
Preserve this planet. Preserve this planet.
We get to focus on the future. We get to focus on the future. Is nothing without Earth. Is nothing without Earth.
For almost all of human history, Earth has seemed big.
It seemed big. But we now know it's small. It's finite. It's finite. And we know that the rate that we're using Earth's resources is not sustainable.
Earth has things that we need to work on, things that we need to work on now.
But there are also long-term problems.
We can't wait to work on the long-term problems. We have to work on both. We have to work on both.
One fundamental long-term problem.
We will run out of energy on Earth.
It's just arithmetic. It's just arithmetic. Humans have always used about 100 watts of power. That's our natural metabolic rate.
But in our developed technological society, we use over 10,000 watts of power per person.
Humans' use of energy is not actually a bad thing.
We live in an era of dynamism and growth.
There are so many good things that happen when we use energy.
Think about technology. Think about transportation, data, hospitals.
As humans, we are at our best when we are inventing, when we are growing, when we are making progress.
But humans are doubling our energy use every 25 years, and that's unsustainable. Today, you could cover all of humanity's energy needs by covering the state of Nevada and solar cells. But at that rate of growth, in 200 years, you'd have to cover the entire planet in solar cells.
What can we do? Can we be more efficient? Can we be more efficient? But we have been.
Today's technology is more efficient in nearly every manner.
We are gaining efficiency. When we gain more efficiency, what do we do?
We use more energy.
We have an ever-increasing demand for more energy.
So what if we just use less? That doesn't work either. Throttling energy use means slowing down progress. You stop living in a world of abundance and you move to a world of scarcity and rationing.
There has to be another way. There is
another way. Space.
Space is full of abundant resources and energy. Space is vast. Space is practically limitless. We can learn to harness the power of space and resources of space. We can tap the limitless resources to help preserve this planet. We can go to space for what we need. We'll make it routine. We'll make it safe and cost-effective to get there. We will build the rockets and the destinations for doing real work in space.
We can do even more than this. We can move the most polluting industries from Earth into space, where they can't hurt the Earth or the environment.
We can return Earth to a beautiful natural state. It will be like a garden, like a national park. like a national place for education, a place for education, and for creativity, and for recreation.
A place for enjoyment and for nature to thrive. Preserve it and expand humanity into space.
We can have 1 trillion humans in the solar system, which means we'd have 1,000 Mozarts and 1,000 Einsteins. This would be an incredible civilization.
Humanity will grow and progress and use energy for good.
Humanity can expand into the solar system by building destinations close to Earth, close to our home planet.
New places, places we haven't even dreamed of yet.
Places that feel like home. Places where great work can be done using the resources of space. An expanse that is meant for everyone, all kinds of people.
This is a hopeful future, an enduring human presence in space. Space is the long-term solution for Earth.
We are building a critical part of the infrastructure that's going to allow others to unlock
the road to space so that future generations can unleash their creativity.
It won't be easy. Space must become much, much more accessible to make this vision a reality.
Big things start somewhere, and that somewhere happens to be today.
There are certain gates we have to go through, certain prerequisites. If we don't do these, we will never get there.
First, we have to radically lower the cost of access to space.
This means reusable rockets.
We have to get really good at using rockets over and over.
Reusable rockets, reusable engines.
Once you learn how to do that, you can basically start spinning this flywheel where the more you fly, the cheaper it gets. The cheaper it gets, the more you fly.
Launch, land, repeat.
Going back and landing a rocket is really hard. And it is absolutely essential that we get good at that so that we can drive down the cost of launch vehicles.
BE3, BE4, BE7, all made from the ground up to be reusable propulsion systems.
Operational reusability. That means making space travel as routine as air travel is.
This is what will radically bring down the cost of getting to space.
And we are bringing all of that learning to New Glenn, the next step of building the road to space.
Once you have low-cost access to space, the next gate becomes harnessing the resources of the solar system.
There are so many more resources up there in space than there is on our planet.
I mean, everyone's familiar with this idea of locally sourced goods, and this is just a really extreme version of that.
The moon is where we'll learn to do all this.
The moon has a vast quantity of resources.
And if we can learn to harness those resources, we can travel without stressing the Earth.
That's the goal. We'll go to space, and we'll use its resources to power our transportation and build destinations.
Anything we need, we will use the stuff in space to make it happen.
The moon is the next thing. We're going back.
It's time to go back to the moon, this time to stay. Make no mistake about this. This is not going to get done by any one generation. One of the things that we have to do is inspire those future generations.
This vision of millions of people living and working in space for the benefit of Earth is a very, very long-term vision.
It's gonna take generations.
We have to make sure that what we're doing today is setting up the next generation.
It's going to take all kinds of people.
Engineers, entrepreneurs, architects, artists, you, your children, your grandchildren.
This is kind of humanity's cathedral. You know, cathedrals took multiple generations of artisans and craftsmen and masons to build. And there was never the expectation that one person would design and fully execute the vision.
We have to inspire the next generation to carry this torch for the benefit of Earth.
For the benefit of Earth.
For the benefit of Earth.
We are Blue Origin.
And we will do all of this.
We'll do all of this.
For the benefit of Earth.
such an inspiring message. You know, actually our very name, Blue Origin, means Earth, right? So, you know, when our future generations are out there looking back, they will look back at their blue origin, at Earth, right? And so we really need to protect this planet. The other reason why I love our name, Blue Origin, is it means Earth. It means all of us. We are building these really cool, you know, pieces of space technology, not only just for one country, not only for one hemisphere, it really is for the entire world. And that's why, you know, I love that that our company has this bigger, broader vision. You know, actually, before I took my current role, I was leading our commercial and international sales, and it was just really nice to get out there and talk to our international customers and people from around the world in the space industry. I should say a big shout out to them out there if you guys are watching, you know, and really talking to them about whether it's New Glenn or Blue Ring or our lunar lander, what they can do and how they can take advantage of our technologies. I just love that we think broadly like that, and it's one of the many things that's kept me here at Blue. But I also want to talk, you know, obviously the main theme of that video there is this idea that as part of the long-term vision, we really need to protect this planet and the role of space technologies. What we're doing at Blue and what other organizations are doing around the world is so important because it is going to help protect Earth, right? And that's also why we start with reusable rockets and reusable rocket engines and the way that we're designing them to run on propellants that are less harmful to the Earth, like liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen, and LNG. We were talking about that earlier. It's just so important.
It gives me such a sense of pride because it really is about the everyday work that we do now and how that would impact future generations. So all of this is going to create a longer term impact on Earth that's truly going to benefit humans for future generations. By focusing on the sustainability of our designs, we're really ensuring that our advancements in space technology do not come at the expense of our home planet Earth.
Yeah, you know, a couple of minutes ago we threw it back to our co-host Eddie out there at Cars Park, and again, talking about the multiple generations, how cool is it that he was there with the father-son pair that both work at Blue, plus the son's daughter that's there, and she's just going wild over space, and she can't wait to see, you know, this rocket launch. We have to think in that sort of generational time scale, right? There was also, you know, our teammate that's up in launch control, whose grandfather worked, you know, on Apollo, and here she is, you can see she's pregnant in the photo. Like, who knows what her child is going to end up doing? And hopefully, what we're doing here at Blue is going to benefit, again, these next generations. We're building the road to space with these first initial steps tonight. You know, New Glenn. We're also talking about Blue Ring. Blue Ring is one of the first building blocks of the infrastructure that's up there in space, right? It's not just about the transportation, which is crucial, don't get me wrong, but then once we're up there, you know, we're going to need to support others, you know, in this case, you know, our customers, but also ourselves, when I say ourselves, Blue Origin and some of the missions we're doing, as we build our capabilities out there. By definition, space is infinite. And so if we can take advantage of that, and if we can put things up there that will help us take advantage of that, I mean,
for the benefit of Earth.
For the benefit of Earth, the future is bright. Okay, with that, we are T-minus 16 minutes and 40 seconds to go until launch. Our teams continue to get aligned. They're working on a couple of issues. This is our first launch. They need that extra time. We're going to give it to them because otherwise speaking, this team is ready to rock and roll, and that rocket there looks chilled in and ready to go to space. So with that, let's continue to check out New Glenn on the pad. Ready for NG1. Okay, we've just been getting an update from Mission Control. We are standing down today's launch attempt to troubleshoot a vehicle subsystem issue that will take us beyond our launch window. We are reviewing opportunities for our next launch attempt. So we've scrubbed today's NG1 mission to give the team more time to work that issue, and we're reviewing what other things that we might need to get done in that period. When we know when the next opportunity is, of course, we will let everybody know. Now, to give the viewers a sense of what happens next, the launch team is now working to detank and safe the vehicle. From there, we're going to assess, as mentioned, what other things we might want to get done in our downtime, and that is what's going to guide when the next launch opportunity will be. Follow us on social media. That's the way to stay up to date on announcements for that next launch attempt. We do want to thank you for joining us. We can't wait to get right back here for our next launch attempt. Stay tuned. For Rossiter.